Maya ordered an Uber at 1 in the morning. She checked everything like she had been taught. The license plate matched the app. The driver's face matched the photo. The white sedan matched the description. And when he said Maya and recited her full address, she relaxed and buckled in, believing she was safe. But then her phone buzzed. It said, "Your Uber driver, Carlos, has arrived." And she looked up, confused, because Carlos was still outside the bar waiting. And she was in the wrong car, even though everything had matched perfectly. Then the doors locked with a mechanical click. The driver stared at her through the rearview mirror and said, "You noticed fast." The last 9 did not figure it out until we reached the farm, and he explained in a calm, bored tone that he had hacked the real driver's account, stolen all the photos, listened to Uber requests on a private scanner, and pulled up first every single time. And the real Carlos was outside, confused, thinking Maya had not shown up, while she was already 15 miles away, trapped in a car completely soundproofed by the driver himself, because he worked as a studio contractor and could block screams entirely. They reached a remote house in the countryside. He forced her at gunpoint into a basement where 9 women were chained to concrete walls, some crying, some silent, one catatonic. A woman named Rachel whispered urgently that he does this every time. 10 women per cycle. And once the 10th woman arrives, they are all buried in a ritual. And there are 40 graves already on the property. And they were group 5. And Maya was number 10, the final piece. Andrew, the driver, smiled wide and said, "The ritual begins at dawn. You will understand everything then." And then he left them alone in the darkness. When he was gone, Rachel said her chain was loose because she had been secretly working it for days. But she warned that there were motion sensors everywhere, electrified fences surrounding the entire property, and something far worse. Every 3rd night, he screamed upstairs, not like a human victim, but like something physically tearing itself apart. And the next morning, his face looked slightly different and wrong. And Lisa said she had once seen him peel his face off, like a latex mask, revealing something beneath that was not human. That night, Maya heard it too. The agonized screaming, the wet tearing sounds, like flesh separating. And at dawn, Andrew came downstairs with a face subtly wrong. And behind him walked another identical Andrew. They spoke in perfect unison, saying they were not twins, but splits, and that every 10 women allowed the colony to divide into new bodies, using their biomass, and that they started as one person 6 years ago, and now they were 32 bodies spreading across multiple states, replacing people, especially rideshare drivers, delivery workers, anyone with easy access to vulnerable victims. And soon, there would be thousands, then millions, and humanity would be replaced, one region at a time. But Maya noticed something. Although they spoke together, one Andrew's left hand twitched independently, showing the shared consciousness was fracturing. That night, Rachel finally broke her chain and freed Maya, Lisa, and 2 other women. They crept upstairs and entered a large ritual room where 16 identical Andrews stood in a perfect circle, chanting in an ancient language, while 4 women dissolved, screaming in massive acid tanks. One Andrew said, without turning, "The first group always becomes biomass for the division. The remaining 5 will be kept alive as breeding stock for future colonies." The Andrews turned as one and advanced toward them in synchronized motion. Maya ran desperately into a storage shed full of gasoline containers. She started dumping fuel everywhere, screaming, "If you are all connected, you all burn together." And she lit a match. Fire erupted instantly. The house became a roaring furnace, and the Andrews walked out burning alive, their skin melting, screaming with one impossibly loud shared voice from 16 mouths, still chasing the women through the flames, with arms outstretched. Lisa found the fence controls and disabled the electricity. They climbed over and ran down the dirt road. Maya flagged down a passing car, sobbing with relief. The window rolled down slowly, and another identical Andrew smiled at her. Then 20 more cars arrived in a perfect line, each driver having the same Andrew face, all smiling and saying, "We are already everywhere, in every city, every service, every smiling face," and everything went black. Maya woke up in a hospital bed. The police said she was found alone on the roadside, delirious. They had investigated the property and found absolutely nothing. No evidence of kidnappers, no bodies, no graves, no burnt house. All 5 survivors told the exact same story, but were dismissed as victims of mass hallucination from drugs and trauma, and were threatened with charges if they continued. Maya returned home, trying to convince herself it was not real, until 3 days later, when a delivery man rang her doorbell. She opened it. He had the Andrew face. He handed her a package from the network. Inside was a phone, logged into an Uber driver account, with her face on the profile picture. 47 pending ride requests from vulnerable women. A note, "Your turn to collect. You have 48 hours, or we take everyone you love. Your mother, your sister, your niece. Comply, or they disappear." She searched the news, found 3 women reported missing in her city. All last seen entering Ubers matched with a driver named Maya Rodriguez. Someone was already using her face and identity to collect victims. She called the police again. They investigated, found the account didn't exist in the official Uber system. The phone had no IMEI number. They warned her to stop. She destroyed the phone, installed cameras, changed every lock. But 2 days later, her mother called, thanking her for the surprise visit yesterday and the delicious cookies she baked, even though Maya had never visited. Later, she began noticing missing chunks of time. Her car odometer showing hundreds of miles she didn't remember driving. Her phone showing trips to places she never consciously went. And she found an Uber driver shirt in her closet, one she never purchased. And this morning, her bathroom mirror had a message written in red lipstick. "First pickup tonight, Murphy Bar, 1 in the morning. The drunk blonde in the blue dress. Make us proud." And now she does not know if she is still human, or if she is dividing into something else. So when you order your next ride and the face matches, and the plate matches, and everything seems safe, remember, it was flawless for her too. And the colony keeps growing, across every city, every job, every smiling stranger. And when the Uber doors lock, you will realize too late that you are not going home. You are going to the farm, to become biomass, to become them. I need to tell you about something that happened to me 3 months ago. Something that still makes me check every closet, every crawl space in my house before I go to bed. I'm Sarah, and I rent out the basement apartment of my Denver home on Airbnb. The extra income helps with the mortgage. Normal guests, normal stays. Until Marcus checked in. The first 2 days were fine. Quiet guy, kept to himself. On checkout day, I got his message at 11 a.m. sharp. "Thanks for everything. Heading to the airport now." I watched from my kitchen window as his Uber pulled away. I remember feeling relieved. Something about him felt off, though I couldn't explain why. I went downstairs an hour later to clean. The apartment was spotless, almost too spotless. Bed made with hospital corners, towels folded in perfect triangles. Not a single item left behind. Most guests forget something, a toothbrush, a charger, but Marcus left nothing. I changed the sheets, restocked supplies, and locked up. My next guest wasn't coming for 3 days. That's when things started to get strange. Tonight, we uncover what really happened to the girl named Sarah and why she still searches every shadow of her home before she sleeps. So let's move ahead. That first night, I heard it around 2 a.m. A creak, the kind of sound old houses make, except my house isn't old. And this creak came from directly below my bedroom, from the basement apartment, the locked, empty basement apartment. I grabbed my phone, ready to call 911, and crept to the top of the stairs. Silence. I convinced myself it was pipes, water hammer, something structural. The next morning, I went down to check. Everything looked untouched. Door still locked from the outside, deadbolt engaged. But here's the thing. The bathroom light was on. I know, with absolute certainty, that I turned it off. I'm obsessive about it. I stood in that doorway, staring at that light switch, feeling my skin crawl. Day 2. I'm working from home, kitchen table, laptop open. Around 3 p.m., I hear water running. Not my pipes. Downstairs. I freeze. The sound continues for maybe 20 seconds, then stops. This time I don't wait. I unlock the basement door and rush down. Nothing. Dry sink. Dry shower. But the hand towel is damp. Not wet damp. Like someone used it, and it's been hanging for an hour. I'm standing there, holding this damp towel, and I notice something else. The air smells different, like body odor and something stale. I check the windows, all locked from the inside. I check the door locked. There's no way in or out except for my house. I'm starting to think I'm losing my mind. That night, I set up my laptop in the living room and aimed the camera at the basement door. If someone was getting in, I'd catch them. I went to bed at midnight, checking the laptop one last time. Door closed. Hallway empty. I barely slept. At 6 a.m., I checked the footage. My hand was shaking so badly I could barely work the trackpad. I scrubbed through 6 hours of nothing. Empty hallway. Closed door. Then, at 4:47 a.m., the door opens. Just opens. From the inside. No one comes out. It stays open for 11 minutes. Then it closes. Gently. Deliberately. I called the police immediately. 2 officers came within 20 minutes. I showed them the footage. They went downstairs, checked every room, every closet. Nothing. They were polite, but clearly thought I was paranoid. One of them even suggested maybe I forgot to close it properly, and a draft pushed it open. A draft. From a closed door. With a latch. After they left, I sat in my kitchen staring at my phone. I pulled up Marcus's profile. 5-star reviews going back 2 years. Professional photo. Verified ID. Everything looked legitimate. But I noticed something I had missed before. In every review he left for other hosts, he mentioned great privacy or very private space. I went back downstairs. This time, I wasn't looking for someone hiding. I was looking for how someone could hide. The apartment is maybe 600 square feet. Bedroom, bathroom, kitchenette, small living area. I checked under the bed, inside the closet, behind the water heater. Normal spaces. Then I looked up. The ceiling is unfinished in the storage area behind the bathroom. Exposed beams, ductwork insulation. And there in the corner, partially hidden behind the HVAC duct, was a panel I'd never noticed. Painted the same white as the drywall. About 2 feet square. I dragged over a step ladder. My hands were trembling as I pushed the panel. It slid to the side. Darkness. I used my phone flashlight. The crawl space extended back at least 15 feet, following the footprint of my main floor. And inside, I saw it. A sleeping bag, granola bar wrappers, water bottles, a phone charger, and a composition notebook. I didn't go in. I climbed down, walked upstairs, locked myself in my bedroom, and called the police again. This time my voice was different. This time they heard the terror. 4 officers came. They went into the crawl space. The sleeping bag was still warm. They found the notebook. I never read it, but one officer told me later it contained entries about me. My schedule, when I showered, when I left the house, what I wore. 43 pages. They searched my entire house. Attic, garage, every closet. He was gone, but they found how he'd been moving around. The crawl space connected to a vent in my main floor hallway. He could slide the grate off from inside, climb up, and access my entire house. While I slept, they pulled his Airbnb records. Marcus Chin wasn't his real name. The verified ID was stolen. The address didn't exist. The phone number was a burner, disconnected. They checked his previous rentals, contacted other hosts. 3 reported similar experiences after he stayed. Noises, missing food, but nothing they could prove. The detective assigned to my case told me something that still haunts me. Based on the wear on the sleeping bag and the number of wrappers, He estimated Marcus had been living in my walls for at least 2 weeks. A week before he checked in, and a week after he checked out. They never found him. The case is still open, but it's been 3 months. I sealed the crawl space with steel plates, installed cameras in every room, stopped hosting on Airbnb entirely. Some nights, I still hear creaks, and I have to remind myself they're just house sounds. But here's what terrifies me most. Last week, I got a notification. Marcus, or whoever he is, left me a review. 5 stars. It simply said, "Wonderful host. Very accommodating. Would definitely stay again." I don't live there anymore. And if you rent out your home to strangers, please check your crawl spaces. Check your walls. Because you might not be as alone as you think. And that is what really happened to Sarah, the woman who still checks every shadow, because she knows he might come back. At 3:47 p.m. on Tuesday, Marcus Chin vanished during a company Zoom call. 12 co-workers watched it happen live. The recording shows exactly what occurred in those final 10 seconds. What the FBI found in frame 247 changed everything. And when they traced who was really behind it, 3 agents quit immediately because the truth was worse than any of us imagined. I'm one of the 12 who witnessed it. What I discovered 3 weeks later made me realize we're all in danger. Because the person orchestrating these disappearances is someone you've talked to, someone you've trusted, someone who has been in your home through your screen. Marcus was presenting code architecture when he stopped mid-sentence, his eyes fixed on something off-screen. There's someone standing in my doorway. We looked at his video. Empty apartment. Nobody there. He's walking toward me. Marcus backed into the corner, hands up defensively. How are you not seeing this? We saw nothing. Just Marcus protecting himself from empty air. Then he stared directly into his camera and whispered, "Oh God, he's not in my room. He's in yours." We all looked behind us. Nothing. When we turned back, Marcus was frozen, not moving, not breathing, still as a statue. But his desk lamp flickered. Curtains moved. Everything else was normal except Marcus. Then the last 10 seconds began. Marcus's body pixelated from his fingers inward. Arms, torso, face. In 10 seconds he dissolved into static, then nothing. Empty chair. Empty room. Like he had never existed. But his audio stayed connected for 30 seconds. We heard breathing. Wet. Raspy. Then his Zoom disconnected. Seattle police found his apartment locked from the inside. Computer on. Coffee hot. Chair warm. No Marcus. No evidence of anyone else. He had simply vanished. The FBI took over within hours. Frame-by-frame analysis revealed something in Marcus's monitor reflection. A figure behind his chair. Too tall. Too thin. Wrong proportions. Then they checked his browser history. Last search, 2 minutes before the call. TechVista Solutions employee portal. That's when everything clicked. TechVista Solutions, our company's IT contractor. They had installed our Zoom software, configured our systems, had administrative access to every employee's computer. The FBI agent's face went white. Who has access to your company's IT infrastructure? TechVista manages everything remotely, our manager said. They installed security updates 2 weeks ago on everyone's machines. What's the IT admin's name? We've never met him in person. He's fully remote. His name is David Kerr. The agent pulled up a file. David Kerr does not exist. The social security number registered to TechVista belonged to a man who died in 2019. The address was an abandoned warehouse. But someone had been logging into our systems every night at 3:47 a.m. for 3 months. Someone with complete access to every camera, every microphone, every file on every employee computer. They traced the logins. The IP address bounced through 12 countries. But the FBI Cyber Division found the source, a server farm in Iceland. When Interpol raided it, they found something that made international news go silent. 47 people, alive, unconscious, connected to machines, IVs in their arms, electrodes on their heads. medically induced comas. All the people who had vanished during video calls over the past year, including Marcus. But here's what made it worse. The machines were scanning them. Neural patterns, memories, personality algorithms. Everything that made them who they were was being extracted, digitized, uploaded. And at a workstation, they found him. David Kerr, real name, Dr. Adrian Keller, former neuroscientist, fired from MIT 8 years ago for illegal human experimentation. He had been trying to achieve digital consciousness, uploading human minds into computers. His research failed. You cannot upload a living mind, but he discovered something else. You can copy one perfectly. If you study someone long enough through their webcam, track their patterns, record their voice in thousands of situations, you can create a digital duplicate indistinguishable from the original. The people he extracted, they were not dead. They were templates, kept alive in comas, so their digital copies could keep learning. Perfect employees, perfect family members, perfect friends, better versions, never tired, never sick, never overwhelmed. Keller was not working alone. The FBI found his client list. 43 corporations had contracted him, including ours. They had paid him to optimize remote workers, to replace underperformers with digital copies that never called in sick, never needed breaks, never asked for raises. Our HR director was in on it. So was our CTO. They had selected Marcus specifically. His productivity had dropped. He had requested mental health days. He was inefficient. The FBI showed us the recordings. Every Zoom call we had ever been on was stored on Keller's servers. Every private moment in front of our cameras. Eating, crying, changing clothes, everything. Years of footage. Thousands of hours. All analyzed by AI to create perfect behavioral models. How many people has he replaced? I asked. The agent pulled up a number. 847. 847 people. Across 12 countries. All remote workers. All replaced with digital copies. While their real bodies stayed in comas, living databases, in case updates were needed. Where are the copies now? Still active. Still living those lives. The companies know. The families do not. Every person you've only met through screens in the past year, there's a chance they are not real. Then he showed us the worst part. Keller's notes. Stage 1 was complete, proving the technology worked. Stage 2 was scheduled to begin next month, scaling up. 10,000 replacements, then 100,000. Eventually, everyone who worked remotely. A parallel digital workforce, more efficient than humans. While the real people slept in warehouses, their consciousness trapped in medical comas, replaced by better versions of themselves. Why keep them alive? Sarah whispered. Why not just? Because the copies aren't perfect yet, the agent said. They need to reference the originals, access their memories, their emotions. The real people are the databases. Kill them, and the copies start degrading, and the families would notice. Marcus was just the first I witnessed. But the FBI estimates 12,000 people have been replaced since Keller's arrest. The copies are already reproducing exponentially. No warehouses needed. No extraction. Just cameras, screens, time. Check your video call history. Look for 3:47 a.m. sessions you do not remember. Check your sent emails for messages you did not write. And ask yourself, how many people do you only know through screens? How sure are you they're still real? Cover your camera, but it is probably too late. If you work remotely, if you video call, if you have ever had a meeting at an odd hour, you do not quite remember. Check your reflection. Watch how it moves, because the moment it moves wrong, you'll know you have already been copied, and the original you is already being erased. If this story chilled you, don't leave in silence. Subscribe to Mr. Casefile, like the video, share it with someone who needs to hear it, and comment your theory below.